In the NBA playoffs, you're only going to go as far as your best player can take you, and it's almost impossible to win an NBA championship when you don't have a top 10 player in the NBA leading your squad. And sometimes it's really tough if it's not a top 5 player. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? In this video, we are going to rank every playoff team's best player from 16 to 1. Some of these guys are playing the best basketball of their careers. Some of these guys are playing through some injuries right now. And basically, my view of this ranking is who do I want leading my squad in game 7 of a playoff series. So if you guys do enjoy this style of content, feel free to drop a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you agree and disagree with. Like always, thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. More about them later, and let's get into the ranking. So to start things off at number 16, we have Paolo Banchero for the 5 seed Orlando Magic. I mean, no disrespect to Paolo, but he's never played in a playoff series before, and he's still just 21 years old. So experience, age is not on his side here. And I'm very intrigued to see how Paolo performs in his first playoff series. He was on Team USA in the FIBA World Cup last year. He led the Orlando Magic to one of their best record in years this year as their top guy. And he's coming off a season where he averaged 22.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 5.5 assists a night. I feel like he's going to have to carry this Magic team if they want to win a playoff series or two. And coming in at 16 isn't disrespect to Paolo as a player. He's still a phenomenal young guy, and I'm very excited to see what he can do for the Magic in these playoffs. All right, so next up we have Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. I think there's been debate every single year over the last couple of seasons who's the best player on the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson. And after this 2024 season and what we saw in the play-in tournament, Zion is their top guy. And it is unfortunate that Zion did suffer a hamstring injury against the Lakers, but he's coming off a season where he averaged 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, and was a dominant inside player once again, and also developed his passing ability and was the best playmaker he has ever been in his career so far. He was also healthy, which is great to see, and I'm hoping Zion gets healthy very soon. We're going to talk about Tyrese Haliburton of the Indiana Pacers next. Haliburton has had a weird 2024 season. He was amazing, elite, one of the best players in the NBA as a whole in the first half of the year, leading up to the All-Star break, was an All-Star starter in his team's city in Indianapolis. But then the second half wasn't kind of Haliburton. Still, as a whole, I'm going to go with Haliburton over Pascal Siakam. I think he will be the best player for the Pacers in their playoff series against the Bucks. And it was really a tale of two halves for Tyrese Haliburton. Pre-injury up to January 8th, he averaged 23.5 points, 12.5 assists, 4 rebounds, over a steal a night, shooting 50% from the field, 40% from 3, and 87% from the line, and like I said, was looking like one of the best players in the NBA as a whole. But post-injury, over his last 36 games of the regular season, Haliburton averaged 17 points, a 6-point drop-off, 9.5 assists, a 3-assist drop-off, less rebounds per game, and shot 45% from the field, 32% from 3, and did not look like the same player we saw from him in the first half of the year. Man, there's a lot of questions surrounding Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland. He's going to be my next guy here in the ranking, and could this be the final couple of games we see Mitchell in a Cavs jersey? There's a lot of rumors that they could trade him in the offseason if he doesn't commit to an extension, because he can be an unrestricted free agent next offseason in 2025. And Mitchell was banged up this year, but when he was healthy, before kind of the injuries caught up to him, he was an all-NBA caliber player. He put up 26.5 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists a night, shot 46% from the field, 37% from 3, and 87% from the line. He's still one of the best shot creators in the game, and he's going to be such a huge part if Cleveland wants to make a run in the playoffs, because they have the talent to do so. They have the talent to beat Orlando. They have Mitchell, Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley all playing together. They're all healthy, presumably. And we'll see Donovan Mitchell, who has had his up and downs in the playoffs before. It seems like he was a little bit more effective in his early days in Utah, and then unfortunately had some disappointing exits later in his Utah tenure. And then last year, obviously losing to the Knicks in round number 1 in what everybody thought was an upset, because people were all picking Cleveland to beat New York. So let's see if Donovan Mitchell can step up, but he's coming in here outside the top 10. How can we not talk about playoff Jimmy, man? He is just another beast in the playoffs, but unfortunately, he did suffer a injury against the Sixers in the play-in tournament, so we may not see full playoff Jimmy in the 2024 playoffs. But over the last couple of seasons, he's made it to 3 Eastern Conference Finals, one in 2020, one in 2022, and another one last season in 2023. He's made 2 NBA Finals in 2020 and in 2023. And like I said, it's just another beast in the playoffs. He can slow down the game. He can get to each spot of where he wants on the floor. He's an absolute nightmare on the defensive end of the floor. One of the best court visions on that side of the floor and could just intercept passes all over the court. Truly one of the best playoff series we have ever seen in round number 1 last year, as the 8-seeded Heat upsetted the 1-seeded Bucks, and Jimmy Butler averaged 37 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 60% from the field and 44% from 3, and playing elite defense in that 5-game upset against the Bucks. Unfortunately, he did get injured against the Knicks, and his play kind of diminished throughout the playoffs, but Jimmy Butler is still one of the best playoff performers that we have seen in recent memory. All right, this pains me to say, but just missing out on the top 10, my favorite player on my favorite team, Jalen Brunson. But Jalen Brunson is going to finish right up there in the MVP conversation. He should finish around the number 5 spot in the voting. There's some arguments for him on All-NBA first team, and he just had one of the best point guard seasons we have seen for somebody at his height since 2021 Steph Curry. Brunson averaged 29 points, 7 assists, and 3.5 rebounds for the Knicks, shooting 48% from the field, 40% from 3, and 85% from the line. And with all the injuries to Knicks this season, with Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle missing notable time, Brunson kept this team alive, got them to their second 50-win season of the century, and a 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And we've seen Jalen Brunson do it in the playoffs before. He stepped up for the Dallas Mavericks in the 2022 playoffs when Luka Doncic got hurt, being the best player on the Mavs to beat the Jazz in that series. And then last year for the Knicks, averaged 24 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists on okay efficiency against the Cavs in round number 1, but turned it up a notch against the Heat in their 6-game playoff series in round number 2, where he averaged 31 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists on elite efficiency. Jalen Brunson is a stud and is a proven playoff performer. So before we get back into the video, I want to give a word from today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. With the NBA playoffs finally being here, Underdog Fantasy is by far the easiest way to play fantasy sports and enjoy playoff basketball. And if I'm going to be going to any playoff game this season, or if I'm going to be watching it with some friends, or even just watching it by myself, I'm going to be using Underdog Fantasy as well throughout it. And Underdog's Pick'em game is my favorite way to play fantasy sports right now and enjoy a game a little bit more. You go to the Pick'em tab on the Underdog Fantasy website or app, and you pick either a player will have a higher or lower stat total in that game they are playing in for a chance to win big. You can pick between 2 to 5 players in your Pick'em entry, and you can win up to 20 times your money on a single game if you get all your picks right. And Underdog has a great promo for you guys. If you use my link in the description below, you can get a 100% deposit match up to $100 using code SROS, S-R-O-S. It's kind of a no-brainer. They also do new customer specials as well that you can be on the lookout for, where you can get a promo for just maybe a Nikola Jokic, a Luka Doncic, or somebody playing throughout the NBA playoffs to get over 0.5 points. So that is a nice thing that Underdog Fantasy does for you guys as well. So yeah, that's a 100% deposit match up to $100 if you use code SROS, S-R-O-S, and make sure you use Underdog Fantasy throughout the NBA playoffs this season. All right, to kick off the top 10, we have Kawhi Leonard of the LA Clippers. Now, it's tough to rank Kawhi because over the last couple of seasons, he's been injured in the playoffs. But how can I discount somebody that has won 2 finals MVPs for 2 different teams before? One in 2014 with the Spurs, the other one in 2019 with the Raptors. He just had the healthiest season of his career in almost a half a decade, putting up 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists on almost 50-40-90 shooting splits, while also playing elite defense. Kawhi was elite in the 2 games he played in the playoffs last year against the Suns, and then the playoff series we saw before that from him was in 2021 when they beat the Mavericks in 7 and beat the Jazz in 6, and he was putting up 30 points a night, shooting north of 50% from the field, north of 35% from 3, and 90% from the line. Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, can be one of the best players in the NBA still. Now, if we look at the regular season as a whole, you could probably say Anthony Davis was the best Laker, but when it's going to come to playoff time, I still got to ride with LeBron James, even though he's 39 years old. So yeah, year 21 for LeBron, maybe the most polished playoff resume because of the counting numbers he has being in the playoffs so many times. LeBron is first in career playoff points by over 2,000. Coming in at number 2 is Michael Jordan. He's 4th in rebounds, 2nd in assists, 1st in minutes, 1st in field goals made, 1st in steals, 10th in blocks, and also 3rd in three-pointers made as well. LeBron James is truly one of the best playoff performers we've ever seen. The only reason why I'm having him so low at 9 is because he is 39 years old. Coming in at number 8, we have the top player on the 3 seed in the Western Conference, Anthony Edwards. We saw Edwards break out onto the scene last year in round 1 against the Denver Nuggets and played the best out of anybody against the eventual finals champions last year, where he averaged 31.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists, shooting 48% from the field, 35% from 3, and 84% from the line. And a lot of people also don't talk about Ant's first career playoff series in 2022 as a 20-year-old against the Grizzlies, a much better team at the time, where he pushed them to 6 games, averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, shooting 46% from the field, 40% from 3, and 82% from the line, and can be an elite two-way player in the playoffs. And I'm excited to see if he can carry the Timberwolves to maybe their first conference finals appearance in quite some time. Coming in at number 7, we have somebody that's going to finish top 3 in the MVP voting, broke out onto the scene last year, and played like a top 3 player in the NBA this year in the regular season, and that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the OKC Thunder. Over the last 2 seasons of Shai's career, playing in 143 games, he has averaged 31 points, 6 assists, 2 steals, a block a night, 5 rebounds a night as well, shooting 52% from the field, 35% from 3, and 89% from the line, exceeding expectations for the Thunder last year and helping them be the youngest 1 seed ever this year in 2024. Coming in at number 6 for the Boston Celtics, we got Jason Tatum, someone that has a lot of playoff experience for somebody in his 7th season. Tatum is coming off a regular season where he played in 74 games, averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, played good defense, and shot 47% from the field, 38% from 3, 83% from the line. He's going to get some All-NBA first team votes and some top 5 MVP honors votes. And he was essentially the best player on the best team this season. He's been to four Eastern Conference Finals in his first 6 years in the NBA. He's also been to a finals as well with the Celtics in 2022, and he's still just 19 years old. All right, coming in at number 5, I have Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns. Maybe it's a hot take to have KD above Ant, LeBron, Tatum, and Shai, but when he's out there, he is the best scorer in the league in my opinion. Like LeBron, like Steph, like Zion, like Kawhi, KD had the healthiest season in over a decade this year for the Suns, playing in 75 games, averaging 27 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5 assists a night on elite efficiency. And that's what I love about KD. 52% from the field, 41% from 3, 86% from the line. Also, in my opinion, one of his better defensive seasons in quite some time. And yes, I'm still taking like the Celtics as a team overall over KD, but just an individual player, game 7 of a playoff series, I want KD with the ball in his hands more than the guys I have ranked behind him. Now, injuries are a big question with this guy. Coming in as the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, it's Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. Embiid in just 39 games this year, and when he played, he looked like the MVP once again. 35 points, 11 rebounds, 5.5 assists a night, 53% from the field, 39% from 3, and 88% from the line. Embiid has truly been the best player in the regular season when he's been out there over the last 2 seasons. But that is always a big question mark with Embiid when he is healthy. He's never played 70 regular season games ever in his career. And he's also been injured, unfortunately, in the playoffs as well. Missed some time in his first playoff run in 2018. Then missed some time again in 2019. And just felt like over the last 2 years as well, he's just been banged up in the playoffs, including missing a game against the Celtics last year, even though they did end up winning it. Shout out to James Harden. But if Embiid is going to be healthy this playoff run, he's a top 5 guy in the playoffs. Coming in at number 3, we have someone that's been healthy in the playoffs, even though he hasn't had as much regular season success as Joel Embiid. It's going to be Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. Luka just put up one of the best offensive seasons of all time. 34 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists a night on 49, 38, 79 splits. He just won the scoring title. And yes, there are question marks with Luka's defensive game, but offensively, he's a top guy in the league. It was pretty shocking when the Mavericks didn't make it to the playoffs last year, but they made it every single year from 2020 to 2022, and Luka did not disappoint. In those 3 years, he played in 28 playoff games. He averaged 32 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists on 47 shooting from the field and 37% from 3. Also helped lead the Mavericks to a conference finals appearance in 2022, the last time we saw the Mavericks in the playoffs. Coming in at number 2, it's a shame he's going to be banged up to start the series against the Pacers. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis is as good as you can get. Over the last 6 seasons, he has 2 MVPs, a Defensive Player of the Year, a Finals MVP in 2021, 4 All-Defensive First Team appearances, multiple All-NBA First Team appearances, obviously an All-Star every season. Just came off a year where he averaged 30 points, 11.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, shot 61% from the field, and was an elite defender for the Milwaukee Bucks. And you can put him at 1, and I'm okay with that. But coming in at number 1, it's my current best player in the NBA, Nikola Jokic, the reigning Finals MVP, and possibly destined to do it again. Jokic just averaged 26.5 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 9 assists this season in 79 games for the Nuggets, shooting 58% from the field, 36% from 3, and 82% from the line. And it's a good chance that he's going to win his 3rd MVP in 4 seasons. And like Giannis has won 2 MVPs in the last couple of years, as well as a Finals MVP last year with the Nuggets, and like I said, is destined to do it again, and Jokic is coming in at number 1 in this video. So yeah, that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you think of my ranking down below. Let me know what you agree with or disagree with, and if you did enjoy the video, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.